Now, the question is, will the ruling for Han be a clue for what to expect from President Yoon's impeachment ruling? We are joined by legal expert Kwon Hyuk-seong this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Happy to see you again.
Thanks for joining us. So, why do you think the court decided to take care of Han's case first? Why not Yoon's case?
Well, in my opinion, there are two main factors, a legal factor and a political factor. First, from a legal standpoint, impeaching a president is far more complex than impeaching a prime minister, especially when it comes to constitutional and legal considerations. On top of that, President Yoon is currently under investigation for charges related to leading an insurrection. This means the legal issues and factual determinations involved in his case are much broader and more complicated than those in Prime Minister Han's impeachment. And secondly, from a political perspective, the court may have taken into account the current political instability in South Korea. So if President Yoon were to be impeached and removed from office, it would create a longer vacuum of political power and trigger an early presidential election, which leads to even greater political turmoil. So for these reasons, I think the Constitutional Court decided to take care of Han's case first before Yoon's case.
So considering the gravity and the complexity of Yoon's case, as well as the political instability that we've been experiencing since December last year, now, will the result of Han's impeachment trial then provide any hints about what we can expect from Yoon's impeachment ruling if it does happen next week, or have I gone too far here?
Well, a lot of people have been speculating about this, and no one can say for sure. But if I had to guess, I would say it's about 50-50. So legally speaking, these two cases are separate. So the decision on Prime Minister Han's impeachment doesn't automatically tell us what will happen with President Yoon's case. It's hard to predict the outcome just based on Han's ruling. However, I can say that there is a connection. One of the key reasons for President Yoon's impeachment is the insurrection charge, and some of the facts related to that also involve Prime Minister Han, at least to some extent. So depending on how the court rules on that part of Han's case, we might get a small hint about how they could approach Yoon's impeachment, but it's still not a sure thing.
Right. Well, I do have to say the court's announcement on Han's ruling on Thursday, which was yesterday, came as a surprise. Is there any possibility that the court will announce the ruling date for President Yoon's impeachment today on Friday?
Honestly, I think the chances of announcement today are pretty low. From what I've seen in the media, there are some press reports suggesting that the court isn't planning to announce President Yoon's ruling date this week. So as reported earlier, under normal circumstances, the court typically announces ruling date 2 to 3 days in advance, giving time to coordinate with Seoul city officials and law enforcement to maintain public order. But at the same time, it's also true that we have been in political turmoil for months now, ever since martial law incident. The pressure on the court to make a ruling quickly is definitely increasing. So while I don't think we'll get an announcement today, but there's no doubt that the urgency around this case is getting stronger by the day.
Indeed, the time is ticking. Then is it safe to say the ruling will be announced next week? Because next week is full of, other significant political events here in South Korea, I have to say.
We can't be sure. Like you just mentioned, next week is packed with several important political trials. Some are even calling it's a super judicial week. So on Monday, the Seoul Central District Court will hold a trial related to President Yoon's insurrection charges. And on Wednesday, the Seoul High Court is scheduled to deliver its ruling on Lee Jae-myung's appeal regarding his violation of election laws. So considering the political impact of these trials, I think the Constitutional Court will likely wait and deliver its ruling after these key trials have concluded. However, at the same time, given how serious this case is, and considering how many people, including some of my fellow lawyers around me, are expressing frustration over the delays, I personally think so. We can say that there's a high chance the ruling will take place next week, but after these trials have concluded.
Well, Mr. Kwon, I have asked this question to all the experts that joined us for On Point this week every single day. Why do you think the ruling day hasn't been announced yet? I mean, why do you think the justices are taking this long?
Yes, so at this point, the whole Korean society has been talking about impeachment so much that it almost feels normal for us now. But let's not forget, a presidential impeachment trial is an extremely rare event, not just in Korea, but in global.
Indeed.
On top of that, not like the precedented the Nomuyon and Park Geun-hye's cases. In this case, we are witnessing an unprecedented situation where a sitting president is actually on trial for criminal charges. And the charge itself is a insurrection. So there are barely any precedents for this case, which means the legal impact and political fallout could be huge. So if I were one of the justices, I would probably want to take my time and be as careful as possible before making such a big decision. And also, since the composition of the Constitutional Court was finalized quite urgently in recent weeks, so that the judges may need more time for discussions and to coordinate their opinions during deliberations.
Maybe it is appropriate for the justices to take this long and really think through to make such a big decision for the country. Mr. Kwon, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.